This is a Central ARWX Storm Center weather update.
Well, good evening, Central Arkansas, and a very happy Wednesday to everybody out there here in Central Arkansas. And if you're like me, you enjoyed the cloud cover, enjoyed the rainfall today. It was a nice welcome change compared to what we've dealt with over the past few days. But that being said, we have seen a lot of rainfall around Central Arkansas, as was expected. And realistically, we may see more before the night is over. Of course, a current look here at the radar as of our 7 o'clock hour here does show not much in the way of rainfall in Central Arkansas per se, because we did see a pretty good round of storms that moved through areas like Little Rock, Benton, Bryant, Perrin, Perryville, Morrilton, Hot Springs area. Stay right in between Hot Springs and Benton. Then, of course, on down towards Malvern as well. Now, that being said, we still have several chances for rainfall coming up over the next several days. At least in the near term, we could be dealing with a few isolated to widely scattered storms. And again, watching this possibility overnight, somewhere in this area, we may actually see an uptick in rainfall overnight as our front continues to push in and could bring us some not only rainfall, but a area of flash flooding overnight. Something we definitely have to keep our eyes on. However, I think for us in Central Arkansas, most of us should be okay thanks to the rain-cooled, stable air over much of our area. Now, obviously, we still have heat and humidity. Our front is going to be very, very slow to move through, and it's going to actually take a stronger push coming up on Friday to get this front through our part of the state. So hot and humid again for many of us on Thursday and Friday. Heat index values near 110 on both days, and as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner there, we still have that heat advisory that is in effect here until Friday evening. Now, speaking of Friday, we do have a few strong storms that are possible with the passage of our cold front. The exact risk remains to be seen. We would not be shocked to see more of Central Arkansas in that risk as we get closer. Again, damaging winds does look to be the primary threat. However, we may be having to watch for at least a small chance of an isolated tornado or two. We'll talk more about that here in just a minute. As we get past that front and get into Sunday and Monday, early taste of September weather, and the reason why I say that, low humidity coupled with temperatures in the upper 80s and lows in the 60s will make it feel much more like Labor Day weekend or just after compared to early August. But unfortunately for many of us, that will be short-lived as another heat wave does come roaring back as we head towards the final weekend of summer vacation for many of us here in Central Arkansas. Looking around the region this evening, again, for those of you that were lucky enough to get the rainfall this afternoon, you were down into the low 80s. For those of us who had rain a little bit earlier and those storms passed and the sun came out, we did warm back up to around 90, but many of us, though, in a much better spot compared to where we were 24 hours ago. 24 hours ago, many of us were sitting at 100 versus now we have 70s, 80s on the map here. Of course, around 90 coming in here at Little Rock and Searcy and Conway, 79 in Morrilton and Perryville, our cool spots where rain is currently falling. And then, of course, coming in at 82 in Benton and Sheridan, where we do have fog from leftover rainfall earlier this afternoon. And then, of course, 81 down there in Malvern and Hot Springs at this hour. Now, as I mentioned, we do have that risk of severe weather on Friday. Again, this is afternoon, evening into the overnight hours. A level 1 risk for places like Lone Oak, just north of Conway, Valonia, Searcy, Beebe, Bald Knob, places like that. Now, right now, the main threat does look to be damaging winds and lightning. However, I will note that with the disturbance coming through, and we still have a couple days to watch it, we could be dealing with the threat of an isolated tornado or two, given the heat and humidity in place, coupled with the shear coming with the storm system. Again, we're going to have to watch it. Plenty of time to watch it. We have all day tomorrow and into Friday morning as well. I will keep you updated on that as well. And, of course, we'll keep a close eye on any changes throughout the daytime hours tomorrow. Right now, though, damaging winds does look to be the primary threat. Nothing to be alarmed about, but something just to keep our eyes on, as many of us do do have Friday afternoon, evening planned. Of course, also the end of the summer season travel rush ongoing as well. We're going to have to keep a close eye on that. Over the next 5 days, really now through Monday, still expect to see a wide area of up to a quarter to a half an inch of rain across all of Central Arkansas. Again, this will not come all at once. Very hit or miss, and some of you will be lucky to get upwards of an inch or 2 inches of rainfall, especially where storms do train over the same areas. Now, will everybody see an inch of rain? No. Will everybody see no rain? Possible. Very, very typical with late July, early August. We do see those hit and miss showers and storms where some of us get more than others. But on a generalized average scale, this is what we can expect over the next 5 days or so. Again, tomorrow, heat index values will be up there once again. Not as bad as they have been over the past few days. And of course, many of us places around Searcy and Lonoke and Morrilton may be lucky to stay in the low 100s for heat index values. But again, heat advisory is there for us area wide with those heat index values 105 to 110, especially as you head towards places like Benton, Sheridan, Malvern, where the heat and humidity will be a little bit higher thanks to the ongoing rainfall this afternoon. Now, as we head into Friday, another very humid day on tap for us. Even though highs are going to be in the low to mid 90s, the heat index values with dew point 75 to 80 will make that real feel much more higher than that. Isolated areas 110 plus, especially places like Searcy, Little Rock, Perryville, of course, 105 to 110 everywhere is going to be expected. But that being said, heat issues will be a concern for at least a couple of more days. As I mentioned, we do have that heat advisory that goes through Thursday evening. Right now, highest heat index value up to 110. That being said, fully expect to see this get extended into Friday just because of the heat and humidity on tap. Now, that being said, as we go into your Thursday, your Friday, we do have that level 1, level 2 heat risk for us area wide. Again, level 1 on your Thursday, level 2 on your Friday. Again, Friday will be the hotter of the 2 days when it comes to heat risk factors for us here. Now, that being said, the biggest change I want you to know is the Sunday, Monday, we have that level run minor issues because our temperatures and heat index values will be well below the heat risk point. So that's a very good thing as we head into the upcoming week ahead. As you're going out and about overnight, again, another warm and humid night is expected for us here. Again, but it's going to be a little bit on the cooler side, but low still in those upper 70s. Again, that being said, a few areas of strong storms could be seen, but I don't think we will be dealing with that here in Central Arkansas, as most of the rainfall has led to a very stable atmosphere this evening. Now, heading out around the next seven days, of course, again, a level 2 impact day on Thursday and Friday for the heat and humidity. And then, of course, again on Wednesday as we start to bring back those 90s and 100s once again. But notice on Sunday and Monday, it is the cooler air in place, lows comfortable at night, and really throughout the daytime hours, especially on Sunday, it will feel really nice outside. Highs in the 80s to around 90 compared to near 100 like we've dealt with over the past several days. Now, as always, Friday is a day of concern. Again, a lot has to be overcome. I think we will be dealing with a cap most of the day, but as we head into Friday evening and that front gets a little bit closer, that's when we'll be watching for that possibility of a few isolated to scattered strong to severe storms. Of course, then again, Saturday, isolated storms as well. But as always, we're going to keep you updated right here on your source for all things Central Arkansas weather.
From the Central ARWX Storm Center, this has been a weather update.